I think that the ego is both good and bad. And in order to start, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a parable, a little bit of a dumb story. And this dumb story is this philosophical tale that's called the paradox of Buridan's donkey. This is something that's very important in computer science, but it doesn't mean much to human beings. And here's how it goes. There's a donkey in a stall, and on one side he has a huge bucket of water, on the other side he has a huge pail of oats. And he thinks to himself, I'm kind of thirsty, maybe I'll drink the water. And then he thinks, you know what, never mind, I'm more hungry, maybe I'll eat. He thinks, I'm more thirsty, more hungry, more thirsty. And eventually dies of hunger and thirst, having not made a decision, okay? Now, that's a dumbass story, because no donkey would ever fucking do that, all right? But the interesting question to ask yourself is, why would the donkey not do it? Why would the donkey not do it? It's because donkeys have motivation. Donkeys have genetics that are motivating them to survive and to push themselves and to strive, okay? A computer would do that. This is why it's an important thing in computer science. If you gave a computer two options that seem equally valid, a lot of times it'll go into an infinite loop or it won't make a decision and it'll just stall out, right? Because it doesn't have an inherent motivation. It only has the motivation you give to it. Okay, so the ego, we talk a lot about being egoless in game. We talk a lot about not getting attached to the outcome, not getting attached to the result, not worrying about any one girl. And that's all great advice. But if you don't have a little ego, if you don't have a desire to win, if you don't have a little competitiveness and like sex drive, if you don't have that, you're not going to get anywhere. Okay, so some guys I know do really, really well from releasing the ego. For example, take a guy like Alex. He says the first 2 hours in the club, just chill out, relax, don't even try and game, get in a good vibe, be positive. That's very egoless. And he says things like, when he's with a girl and it's going really well, he says, I feel like I've already won just being here with you. Right? That's very non-competitive, very egoless. And in terms of what you want to convey to the girl, that's really, really good. Right? You want to convey no agenda to the girl. But then you look at other guys, Ryan, who's a former instructor of ours. We were at World Summit. I think it was the second World Summit, and Tyler did a thing after the 10-day period. He was like, how many people got laid? Everybody raise your hand, right? How many people? 2 girls, 3 girls, 4 girls. And everybody, the hands are gradually dropping. It's it's like a 9 or 10-day period. He's like, okay, 9 girls, 10 girls, 11 girls, 12 girls, 13 girls. Ryan's has his hand up. There were fucking 13 girls in 10 days, right? And first of all, that's fucking impressive. That's a nice stretch to go on. If you just think about the sleep factor alone, how many hours he had to sleep to do that. But it was very telling what Owen said afterwards. Is he kind of muttered under his breath? He's like, inner game issues, right? He mutters just inner game issues, right? Which is funny because on the one hand, it drove him to do something kind of magnificent, right? In a way. On the other hand, yeah, the reason he did it is because he was feeling kind of empty inside and feeling like he needed something to fulfill him. All right, so the true holy grail, what you're really, really looking for is to have that balance. To have that balance of being extremely driven in sort of the long run and extremely driven from a deep place, but to be so driven and confident in yourself that the little bumps along the road don't seem to matter. All right, because a lot of guys, they're very competitive and it helps them. Right? When it comes to 4 in the morning and there's some other guy talking to the girl you want, are you going to stick in there and wait it out and look lame and try hard and deal with that sick beta chemical emotion of being amogged in your body, or are you going to go home? Right? If you stick it out, you're going to win and you're going to learn. If you go home, you're not. So you need that drive. But at the same time, you need to not be so outcome dependent. You need to not be earlier in the night and throughout the rest of that interaction thinking, oh my God, if I don't get this girl, what the fuck? And even when you're in that AMOG situation, if you are too attached to the girl, that's exactly how you lose the AMOG battle, right? That's exactly how the other guy will get the girl instead of you. So it's this weird zen. And the best phrase I can give you for that is borrow abundance from your future. Trust in the process. Don't think that you're amazing right now, because you may not be. And even if you are amazing, you're not as amazing as you'll be next week or next month or next year. I was pretty good a year ago. I was pretty fucking good. I would vouch. I don't know everybody in this room, but I would say as of last year, I was probably in the top, minimum couple percent in this room in terms of skill at game. Right? There may be somebody here who's been 3,000 girls. If you have, good for you. You might be better at game than me. Who knows? Right? But I would say I'm pretty up there as of a year ago. Guess what? I look at video of myself a year ago now, and I think it's gross. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This was game, really? It's so bad compared to what I'm doing now. Now, does that mean I wasn't good a year ago? No, I was still good. I'm better now, right? And a year ago, in the back of my head somewhere, I knew that a year on I would be this much better. And I know that a year from now I'll be even more better, right? Good grammar, I know. But I will, right? I will be better and better and better. So I borrow that abundance from my future, right? And I value my time, I value my resources the same way I would if I was at that abundant place in the future, right? Because I know, I may be wrong, but I'm 99% sure I'm not. I know there will be a time in my life where I will be dating a harem of essentially like 11s. And I probably won't have to work because I'll have them come to me. And I'll have a lifestyle that I pretty fucking much love, right? And so by knowing that, when some girl who's hot, like say I'm talking to a girl who's a legitimate 10, that girl who you look her in the eyes and you know how you have to stare down a hot girl and you have to not break first? That girl that when you stare her down and you stare her down properly and she looks away, you can feel yourself about to crack at that same moment. When I'm dealing with that girl, because I have that belief in the abundance from the future, I can deal with it. And I don't crack first because I don't put too much importance on it because I know that there will be more girls like her. But at the same time, I don't just give up the first time she stares me down and be like, oh no, I'll just do this when I get better. Fucking, you're out of my league right now. I'll just find one later, right? So it's this interesting balance. You have to find that balance, okay? And it's the same for like any sort of performance activity. Anybody who plays a sport, right? When you're in the, sure, raise your hands, why not? If you play a sport, you have to play super hard. You have to be bloodthirsty. You have to be willing to go to battle. You have to be willing to there are athletes who have like had heart attacks on the field because they've worked so hard, right? I'm glad that's not me. I really am. But on another level, like, I'm envious of them that they put in that much effort, that they were that dedicated and driven. It's like tragic, but it's like kind of beautiful, right? It's kind of beautiful that they were able to summon that much effort out of themselves. So on one level in sports, you want to be that. On another level in sports, you have to chill and relax and let it come to you. Because any sport other than like maybe like powerlifting or maybe track and field, although that has a lot, both of those even have a lot of form to them, you have to be focused on the form, right? It's not just, mustering a lot of effort. It's like, it's a lot of form and technique. And even those, it's a lot of form and technique. So it's finding that balance. And that's what we really want to do there.